First of all, you need to exercise. Exercise is proven that improves your immune system. We're talking about trying to exercise at least 5 times a week, 30 minutes. I don't think it's too complicated to get. You may need to try to fix the problem with the knee. That way you can prove yourself that at least you can walk 2 blocks before you're gonna go through that job. So it's not a bad idea before you start your journey, do some stretching exercises for your legs, your feet, in your nutritional part, and try to get a balanced diet and try to get more muscle mass. Try to find the best setting to sleep at least the required time for you to rest, at least 7 hours. Say for people that they're anxious, I think it's a good idea to talk, to get informed. Usually take from the multivitamin because you are gonna have again more demand because you're gonna be under more, I would say, challenge your body.
Hello, pilgrims. Welcome to the Way to Your Why podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have a Dr. Elena Xintavelonis. We are going to be asking some questions to her about what we need to consider when taking an adventure like going to the Camino de Santiago. So she's going to give us some advices of what we need to do in order to be on that trail with the best possible health that you can. So welcome, Elena. So welcome,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Elena, here to our podcast, The Way to Your Why. So I would like to ask you that you introduce yourself, what do you do, and then we can start from there.
Okay. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me in your podcast. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Dr. Elena Xintavelonis. I am an internal medicine physician. I practice here in Texas. I am located in Lumberton. My clinical focus, at least in the last 2 years, has been functional medicine and integrative medicine, and I'm very happy to be with you today. I finished my medical degree in Venezuela in Universidad de Oriente, and I did my residency in internal medicine between Cook County Hospital in Chicago and UTMB Hospital in Galveston. I have been practicing medicine since 2013 here in the United States, and I'm very happy to be with you guys today.
Okay, thank you very much for that information. And another question that I would like to ask you: have you heard about what the Camino de Santiago is?
Oh yes, from you a lot, and from what I know also is a pilgrimage network, is a way to get into the Santiago de Compostela to get to see the tomb of Saint James the Great, who was an apostle, and it has a beautiful scenery and also historical and religious sites, and I'm really looking forward to do it one day because it looks that it's a very interesting trail and a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Okay, so I don't know if you know or no, but the trails, there are different trails to go to Santiago, and the most known trails are the one from the French Camino, the Primitive Camino, the Portuguese Camino, and the Coastal Portuguese Camino. Those are the more well known. And then two of them are also part of the UNESCO World Heritage List.
Wow.
There are the French Camino and the Primitive Camino.
Mm-hmm.
And since 1993, around that time frame. So,
okay.
And then, so those two caminos, so the distances on those caminos are, if you are wanting to do it from the beginning, we're talking about around 790 kilometers for the French Camino. That is about
it's the longest, no?
500 miles approximately.
Wow.
But majority of people also can do shorter ways that do around 120 kilometers, or about 75, 80 miles. And
okay.
what we are talking to you today is to learn what kind of preparation, physical and mentally, do you recommend for someone that is going to travel there to walk those long distances that usually per day is about 20 to 25 kilometers.
Yes, I know. I read that. And we need to understand that at least we need to be able to comply with the minimum requirements of exercise activity and avoid sedentarism that at least the CDC give us as a guideline. And they're talking about like at least 150 minutes a week of exercise, like a moderate intensity exercise. That would be like I would say 30 minutes of walking a day, brisk walking, that can give you at least some preparation, some conditioning to do like a longer trail, like you're explaining, at least 20 kilometers per day for the preparation of the trail that you are planning to do. Besides that, they are also talking about like straining exercises. That is not a bad idea to do it to get your muscles to prepare also. At least 2 times a week is not a bad idea to have to do some strenuous exercising besides some the high intensity exercise or cardiovascular exercise. So we're talking about trying to exercise at least 5 times a week, 30 minutes. I don't
Okay.
think it's too complicated to get to do that, at least to condition your body for such a journey that I think is gonna demand from you like a more continuous exercise along those days. That's if you're talking about on the physical part, and of
Yeah.
course prepare in your nutritional part and try to get a balanced diet and try to get more muscle mass. That again is important to be able to be conditioned for the journey. And on that part, besides the exercise training, getting your muscle mass in a better shape is not a bad idea. If you are a person that you are in your 20s, your 30s, that's a good thing. Most likely you have enough muscle mass. That's good. But if you are on your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, okay, developing your muscle mass is going to be a little bit more challenging, but it's doable, of course. Trying to get a good diet plan that you are going to have more like proteins and healthy fats, and try to get your carbohydrate intake a little bit on the lower side and getting more good carbohydrates, more rich in fiber, more natural ones, and of course, staying away from processed food. That I don't think that's a good idea. It's gonna keep your muscle mass down. And on top of that, getting a complete nutrition. Okay, you have your exercise activity, having your diet balance, and get a complete nutrition with protein, good carbs, good fats, and also vitamins. That way you can be replenished, because this is gonna be a long journey, and you better have all those vitamins, nutritional reserves, minerals in the best quantities. That way you are ready for that challenge. And mentally, as you can say, mentally, I think it's an exciting thing. I think is when you get to know something new and you are with the right people, with the right team. I think it's actually a good thing. It's a change. And I know some people confront change in a different way. Some people get more anxious, some people get more excited. I would say for people that they're anxious, I think it's a good idea to talk, to get informed, talk to your team that is gonna guide you through the journey. That's the reason you guys are doing this, because you get to people to know about how it's about, how you can get all these situations under control and make this journey the best journey of your life and not having any bad situations. And talking to the team that you're gonna go with is gonna be a good point to get you to feel secure and control your anxiety. But of course, talking to your team and working on your reading, on your meditations, like on your mindfulness. Like not everything is just exercise and eat well. We need to try to talk, manage our mindset, and I think talking to people and working in our spirituality is going to help you to control all these emotions and get you to enjoy the journey without to be nervous or anxious about it.
Okay, that sounds really good. And when you are going as a part of a team, but what about when you're going as a solo? So you're going to travel there by yourself. So what is different the recommendation for those person I'm talking about the mental part?
Well, if you're going solo, as long as you have a plan, I think that gives you enough, like, you have an idea what are you going to confront, and
Okay.
you can be confident that everything is going to go well. Of course, always when you have a plan, you always have a plan B just in case the plan A doesn't go right. And I think that's a key point. And if you're going to be walking by yourself and doing the journey by yourself. And again, trying to have your time to take care of all the most important things, like I would say your diet, your hydration, and what is going to be the pace that you're going to do it. Because again, that's going to be at least 20 kilometers a day. You are going to need to have breaks. And again, you need to try to plan how you're going to distribute those breaks. And if you have a plan, I think that's going to give you enough security that it's going to be fine. And it's going to be fun.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the good things about the Camino, that when you are walking, even if you are walking by yourself, you're gonna find a lot of people walking, and everyone is going for the same purpose. Different reasons, but they are going to the same goal.
Good point.
That is to get to Santiago. And everybody is talking to you. And something that happened is that sometimes you may be feeling that you cannot continue doing. But if you find someone else and that person start talking with you, it's like you forget about it, that you were tired, and you just walk by yourself at the same path that the other person was walking.
No, that's amazing, and that gives you motivation. And even they have done studies that when you are exercising and you are giving yourself positive affirmations when you are exercise, that gives you the strength to keep going and keep going and keep going. And I think people around you walking to the same point and keeping the pace is going to help you to keep up on your pace and moving forward.
Yes. And what about when you're going to the Camino, you are going to be exposed to different kind of, you're going to go through ups, downs, and sometimes through grass, sometimes to rocks, sometimes to dirt. So any special consideration that you need to take about that?
Well, I think the most important thing I would say is your shoes. What kind of shoes you're gonna wear is a key factor, okay?
Okay.
Because it's an accidental trail, and you wanna have the best support that can give you the best stability and the comfort that you need for such a long walk without to affect your stability. That is very important. You don't wanna fall, and also that can give you enough comfort that you can keep walking for long distance without to feel any problems in your feet and in your knees or in your hips that they're gonna be like moving around continuously. And of course, you need to have if you need to have any extra support, I think you need to have some of those special trail canes, that's what they call it, that also can give you some extra strength with the support of your hands and your arms. I don't think that's a bad idea. And on top of that, being present in the moment, okay? Because when you are walking through all those trails, it would be nice to enjoy the place, enjoy the area, and at the same time, you're gonna be immersed in the situation, and you can be aware about what is going on about around you, okay?
Okay.
Because again, if you are in the moment, in the present, if there is something that happened in the middle of your walking, you can realize it and take some measures and avoid any accidents or something like that. Because again, that's you are going to be exposed to nature. That you want to be in that moment, immersed in that situation. That way, if there is something that changed, you can be aware and you can respond the right way.
Yes. Also, people from that works on the store from the hiking stores, when
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about shoes, what do they recommend is that you buy a shoes that is a size higher than you usually use, for when you're, for example, going down,
Mm-hmm.
your toes are not gonna hit into the shoe. That way, you try to avoid kind of the friction that happens too frequently.
No, usually, like in my sports shoes or my trail shoes, in my case, I go one size up all the time. I don't like to feel my my toes that they are like
Okay.
so close to the end of the shoe. But that's true. That's totally true.
And another thing that helped, at least to us, that every morning when we wake up, before putting our shoes and our socks, we just put Vaseline all around our feet and toes,
Yes,
and
that's
that
true.
helped, because for me it's the same effect that the oil making to an engine. That
Yes.
helped. So this is like the same. This
Yeah,
will
and
change
you're
your
gonna
mood.
avoid all the calluses from friction. That's gonna be super helpful. And on top of that, the shoe, the reason I'm bringing the issue about the shoe is the most common injuries that you're going to find when you do those long trails. And I have seen in my patients that they have done trails is like they get to have plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis because again, it's just the wear and tear of those parts that those kind of injuries can happen. So it's not a bad idea before you start your journey, do some stretching exercises for your legs, your feet, your calves, because that's going to help them to prepare for the journey. And also be sure that you have a good quality shoe with a good art, with a little bit of elevated heel, because again, if you're using a very flat shoe, it's not going to help you. It's not going to be a positive thing. It's just going to affect your insole and it's going to be a problem. On top of that, during your walking, it's good to keep yourself very, very well hydrated. And hydration, it would be nice to complement with electrolytes and with amino acids because actually, when you are exercising, if you are taking amino acids along the exercise, it's going to help you to avoid a further soreness or pains after you finish the exercise because it's going to help the muscle to repair faster. So I think hydration is key, plus a good supply of electrolytes that include sodium, potassium, magnesium, and amino acids, essential amino acids to help you with
Okay.
the recovery and the repair at the same time.
Okay. And what about with once you get into your next stop? Let's say that you're gonna rest and all that. When you once arrive, let's say that you take a shower. What are the recommendations after a long day walking? What are the recommendations to take during that night? And then next day when waking up, what's the best in order that you feel recovery for next journey?
Well, again, you need to take a break, have your good meal. If you're going to have a meal, please try to do a balanced meal. And of course, these ones, of course, they're going to be a little bit higher in carbohydrates because, again, it's different that you are preparing for the trail than while you are doing the trail. While you're doing the trail, you're going to need a lot of energy. Okay. And in that case, you will require to have a certain percentage of higher carbohydrates in your meal plus proteins and fats. But again, the healthier, the better, more homemade foods and with very healthy ingredients. In Spain, they cook very healthy because they have a very good quality of ingredients, and that's not a problem there. Now, when you go to rest, if you're going to take a bath, it would be better to do a warm bath than a cold bath because, again, your muscles are recovering and they need circulation. If you give them a shock with cold bath, that's not going to be so helpful because again they have been used for the whole journey during the day, and right now they need circulation to recover. If you give them cold water, they're just going to constrict the circulation, and actually they are going to have a little bit more slow the nutrients to go into the muscles. So a warm bath before you go to bed, I think it will be better. Now if you want to do a cold bath in preparation for the journey, you can do it in the morning, okay, not in the
Okay.
night. And of course, sleep is a key element. I know during those travels it's a little bit challenging because you need to stop in different stops. It's not going to be your bed and all that stuff, but try to find the best setting to sleep, at least the required time for you to rest, at least 7 hours to get all, because remember during the sleep you recover, it's the recovery phase, and if you don't sleep well, you're not going to feel enough strong the next day to keep walking or doing the journey, or it's going to be more difficult. So sleep is a key. And I know some people, they come from, like, they go from United States to Spain and the jet lag could be a little bit of a challenging situation. In those cases, I would recommend to use melatonin for the time that you go to sleep. That way you can trick a little bit your circadian rhythm and try to level up with the timing on the new place. The melatonin can help you really to try to balance that timing and get to sleep at least when the night comes down, even though you are on the time setup of United States, and see if you can sleep at least 7 hours to recover and be ready for the next day.
Yes, I believe that this is really important, and to acclimate to the new
New
country.
time zone.
And we usually recommend that at least before you starting your Camino, you at least sleep a full night without doing anything next day. You're
Yeah.
something very relaxing. That way you acclimate before starting walking.
No, and when you go into the airplane, I usually, when I go to Europe, I get to use melatonin, just try to level up that time zone. And I think melatonin, you need to start it from the time that you get into the airplane. That way you can adapt to the new time zone.
Okay, okay. And then and another question that I would like to get from you is that what about someone that have chronic diseases like a diabetes, for example? What are the
Well,
recommendations?
everybody has some kind of chronic disease. Like if I go there, I need to take care of my asthma.
Okay,
Somebody has diabetes, well, or cardiovascular disease. That's almost everybody. But what I'm saying is that's not a limitation. Okay,
okay,
that's the reason I'm saying everybody has something. The thing about if you're gonna do such a trail is gonna be a moment that is going to challenge your system. Okay. So if it's going to challenge your system, you just need to be prepared for what is going to be your response.
okay,
Like, for example, if you have diabetes, again, you need to be sure that you take your medications with you. I really encourage people to have a pill organizer. I think it's the easier way because again, you need to carry those stuff with you and you don't want to have excessive weight. If you have a pill organizer with your medications well organized with you, that way there's no confusion and you can take them with you and there is no missing doses or something like that. Mainly for patients that they have diabetes or cardiovascular disease that they need to take medications along the way. Like even for asthmatics, I will have my inhaler with me and I will have my allergy pills with me and I will carry my emergency inhaler with me. Like it's something that I know I have it already ready for any kind of trip. The same way for anybody that has diabetes or has cardiovascular disease. And I don't think it's a bad idea, of course, the diabetics, if they are diabetics that they are on insulin, they really need to keep up with their blood sugar logs. Okay. Nowadays, we have so many convenient methods. Nowadays, they use sensors, and
okay,
you don't need to be poking yourself to check your blood sugar. And I think that would be the best option to use while you are doing those trails because, again, you don't need to be doing any extra activity. You just scan with your cell phone and you have the number. And sometimes it gives the information straight to your cell phone.
okay,
And I know not everybody has the capability. Maybe the insurance they don't cover for everybody, but cash pay for one of those sensors is not that expensive. At least for that week or that period of time that you're gonna do it, it's gonna be
okay,
more convenient than to be using the glucometer machine. And for the patients that they have cardiovascular disease, that they want to keep on their blood pressure, because that's what you are a little bit worried. Those patients, they take diuretics or blood pressure medications, and they're going to do those long walks, and you don't want them to get dehydrated. And sometimes they may need to skip the fluid pill because they have been perspiring so much that they may not need to take that fluid pill during the trail. It would be nice for them to have a little blood pressure machine that they can use in their wrist. That is not a big deal of a machine and it's not that expensive. So
okay,
again, they can keep up with their numbers just in case if they start to feel a little bit dizzy or something like that, checking the blood pressure, be sure it's in the right number, and maybe they may need to skip some of the fluid pills if they are running on the low side because again, they are exercising and they may not need to have a diuretic on that day.
okay. Very good. And what about the first aid kit? That's it's important to
Yeah,
have.
the first aid kit you need to carry with you. And
Okay,
in that first aid kit, you need to have the basic supplies for any wound care. It would be nice to have an antibiotic cream. I really recommend, better than Neosporin, I would recommend a mupirocin ointment that you can ask your primary care doctor to give you to your prescription and it's not that expensive. On top of that, it would be nice to have antihistaminics again because you're going to be exposed to the nature. You don't know if you have a mosquito bite or some exposure to some kind of poisonous plant. You really need to have a antihistaminics to help you with that. And just in case for any GI disturbance that you ate something that maybe it didn't go along with you, you may need to have some kind of anti-acid medication or anti-diarrheal. That is not a bad idea to have it. And for sure, some Tylenol and ibuprofen, because if you have aches and pains, I think the ibuprofen will help you. And the Tylenol, on top of that, it can help you some extra relief if you got any kind of viral infection. And that can happen. You may get a box even from the airplane. And essential, that's not part of the first aid kits, but you need to take your vitamins with you. And the vitamins, they need to be some extra vitamins of what you usually take from the multivitamin, because you are going to have, again, more demand, because you're going to be under more, I would say, challenge your body, more stress, because it's going to be a long walk. So you need to have some extra vitamin D, vitamin C, some zinc, and also some B complex. That also is going to help you with your energy level, to help you to go through that trail with better energy.
Okay. Then it's also, is there any disease or or any illness that someone has that is important that before they consider to do an activity like this, they go first to their primary doctor for then to
Well,
tell.
if there is a doubt about your exercise tolerance, that's something that you need to talk to your primary care doctor. When I see my patients, I always ask them, when was the last time you walked 2 blocks?
Okay.
Because that gives me an idea. That gives me an idea if a patient is ready for a surgery. Well, it's going to give me an idea if the patient is ready to go for a trail. So
Okay.
again, if the patient tells me, no, I do that every single day off, of course, you're going to be fine. Do you get chest pain or shortness of breath? No. Okay, good for you. I think you have a good exercise tolerance. Now, if a patient is telling me, I really don't know because I have been having knee issues and I haven't walking that much. That then you need to go and confront the patient. Okay, if you haven't been doing it, you may need to try to fix the problem with the knee. That way you can prove yourself that at least you can walk 2 blocks before you're gonna go through that journey. Of course, I do have patients with chronic osteoarthritis that they still walk. They walk like 30, 60 minutes. I can tell you, my mother-in-law, she can do 20,000 steps a day, even more than me. And she has knee issues. But again, what I'm trying to say, if you are able to prove your exercise tolerance, you are ready to go. If you are not sure about your exercise tolerance, you need to talk to your primary care doctor first.
Okay. And I believe that the same applies. For example, there is a lot of a patient that have been going through a cancer, and they
Mhm.
get treated, and then they some of them they give chemo, and after that chemo they feel that if something like this is important for them to prove themselves that they are still are capable to do that. So is any time frame that they will should wait before going in
We go to the same point. If that person has been walking 2 blocks,
okay.
it has done finished chemotherapy last week, and
Okay.
they are walking around and they are keeping active, I don't think it's a limitation. The
Okay.
only problem with the chemotherapy, though, is you need to be sure that you have some recovery time, because remember, your immune system is affected by
Okay.
the treatment, and
Okay.
you need to be sure that your blood counts are back to normal and there's not going to be any rebound effects that can affect your blood counts. And then yes, you are ready to walk, but your immune system is so weak that just to get exposed to all the bacteria in the airport, you just reached your point and you are sick. So
Okay.
you don't want that. So again, in the case of cancer patients, regarding conditioning, if they can walk 2 blocks without issues, that's fine. But just to be sure that if it was any recent treatment, it would be nice that they have some clearance by the oncologist that at least on the blood
Okay.
part, everything is great.
Okay, so that's really good to know. So talking about the immune system,
Mhm.
so there are people that like to go to the Camino and they like to go to what is called the albergues. So that
Mhm.
means that there are rooms that are shared with a lot of people, sometimes maybe 10, 20, 30, depend of what albergue it is. on those situations, because you're gonna be sleeping with a room with more people, is any preventive thing that you need to do in order to avoid any illness, or just
Well, that's the same thing if you're going to an airplane and you sit with 200 people around you. Okay, you
okay?
always are gonna be exposed to the to bacteria, to viruses, to microbial things that other people are carrying. The big thing is how you react to that. Okay,
Okay.
that's the reason you need to focus on your immune system to have it very well prepared for this kind of situation. So, that's my emphasis that yes, you can wear a mask, but you still can get sick because the mask, you
Okay.
can even smoke and you can see the fume going through the mask. I don't encourage anyone to smoke, but I have seen those videos anyways. They can still penetrate through a mask and you can still be exposed to viruses like COVID or flu. The, we go to the same point. Your immunity is the key. For you to have a good immunity, first of all, you need to exercise. Exercise is proven that improves your immune system. You need to have a balanced diet. You need to get good fats because fats are the ones that they're going to build up your steroid hormones, and your steroid hormones has a lot to do with your immune system, plus vitamin D, that is also a key element to build up your immune system. So that's the reason it would be nice to check your vitamin D levels and be sure that your vitamin D levels are at least on the 70s or 80s. The majority of the people, they are on the 30s and 40s, and they say, yes, I'm okay. No, you need to have a very good levels of vitamin D to have that immune system very well tuned in. Besides that, you need to prepare with vitamin C. Vitamin C, at least 1,000 milligrams with each meal, even more if you tolerate. That also helps you with your immune system. And zinc, in that case, you don't need to get zinc all the time, but if you are preparing for a trip, I would suggest to have some extra zinc, again, to prepare your immune system for any extra exposure. And again, the immune system is going to be the key to keep you healthy. I don't think it's a bad idea to go to the albergues and share with other people, but of course, try to keep the most elemental hygiene measures like wash your hands.
Okay.
Always, if you touch the door handles, those are the most contaminated things.
Okay.
And more than using the mask, I would say take a napkin and touch the door handle with the napkin. Try not to get touching the door handles because, again, the door handles are the most contaminated things in a place, actually. The working with your immune system, getting the right vitamins, and doing the right hygiene when you are in those places, I think that's enough to keep you away from any illnesses. Okay?
Okay. And the last question, so that I'm gonna be asking you is, what about the different so that let's say the hot weather and the cold weather plus the
Yeah.
rain. So what to do in those cases, because you're gonna be exposed to all that.
Yeah. Of course, if you're exposed to the hot weather, try to cover yourself with lightweight clothes, but they have UV protection. Okay? Because again, you don't want to get sunburned. And the more exposed you are to the sun, you're going to perspire more and you are going to be more predisposed to dehydration or insolation in the later time of the day. So you really need to be covered, but with lightweight clothes. And of course, keep an eye on your hydration and keep yourself very, very well hydrated, plus electrolytes, okay? Now, remember, on the hot weather, what you need to be careful is to be hydrated because you don't want to get so dehydrated that your blood pressure goes down and then you start to feel dizzy and you can even pass out. So if you are a person on medications, we come back to the cardiovascular patients that they are on diuretics and that kind of stuff, they may need to be aware that if they are perspiring a lot, they may need to skip the medication, at least for diuretics during the trip. And I'm talking about for weather types that they are on the summertime or on the springtime, close to the summertime. Now, if you're on the autumn and the winter time doing this kind of trails, yes, you're going to be exposed to the cold, okay? And for the cold, you just need to focus to get enough layers. That way you can have a comfortable temperature to keep walking. And of course, remembering that you're going to be moving around and you're going to be sweating anyways. The keeping an eye on your hydration also is very key, even on the cold weather. Now, on the rain, mostly you just need to be careful if you're an asthmatic patient and you get wet and you get any cold from air. That could be a little bit bothersome because that can induce bronchospasm and you don't want to be like that. Try to use your ponchos and keep yourself dry is the best way to avoid those kind of situations. And also nowadays there is even waterproof clothing that you can use on those trails and you don't worry about too much getting wet. But those would be the most essential things about taking care during the weather change.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Elena Xintavelonis, for your time today and for providing all those advices. I hope that all those help to pilgrims who are considering to do the Camino de Santiago about different topics that we talk here today. And this is our first chapter. We're going to be talking with different professionals from different careers. We're going to be asking questions also always related to the Camino de Santiago. And in the future, we're going to also start having also another episodes talking with people from that are related directly with the Camino for knowing
Great.
a little more what do they do in the Camino de Santiago.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and hopefully we can see each other soon in the Camino de Santiago.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So thank you very much and buen camino, pilgrims. Bye-bye.